Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody? Welcome to Tuesday's Pandemic Power Hour. What is going on, my friends? It's hard to believe it's August 18th. It seems like, I normally base summer on when the kids are out of school. Hey, good morning, Ashley. When the kids are out of school, but it seems like they've been out of school for so long, even though they were learning at home. So, like everything else in this time of our lives, our normal touch points have shifted, right? Um, Usually around this time, it's back to school shopping and, winding up things, making sure we get in everything we can before school starts. And it's such a crazy way to be, right? All the normal things. It's interesting. I see kids with, freshmen, college freshmen, those that are going to their dorms, taking them back to school, and it's kind of surreal. And you think, I send so many prayers and blessings to them and hope that they're going to be okay. And then we see more and more schools shutting down. And it's it's hard to it's hard to not know where your next footstep is going to land, right? We get into these routines and we get into patterns, and some people can actually, hey, good morning, Melody, kind of sleepwalk through their day, right? Because it's just the same old, same old. But we get into these routines, and routines are good. They certainly help us accomplish things and stay on track in certain things. But it's interesting when your routines and everything is shaken up, and you kind of can lose your footing, right? Your foundation isn't always there, or it feels like it's not always there. And so, one of the things I want to make sure to remind you guys of is your foundation is there. Who you are and what you believe and what has gotten you to this point. There's common core things about you that can be unshakable, no matter what is going on around you. That you can maintain that good foundation, that good basis, so that no matter which way you decide to step or sidestep or tango or pivot, whatever it is, you're going to be okay, because at the core of yourself you're okay, right? The core of your goodness, the brilliance, the magic of you is intact. Sometimes we forget that, and sometimes life throws stuff at us that we kind of have to clean off the muddy glass to be able to see that again, but it's still there. It's still there. I'd love to know what you guys are going through, if there's stuff that you're struggling with, if you have any questions or anything you want to share. Um, Thanks, Ashley. Yeah. What's been happening? Have you guys tried any of the 3 simple things that we talked about in the past couple of weeks? So take 5 breaths, using the mantra right here, right now, I'm okay. Or having a dance party. Has anybody had a dance party since last week? Would love to know if you've tried any of those things and how they've worked for you or not, right? Just because I suggest them doesn't mean it's something that you're going to feel comfortable with or that's going to click with you, and that's totally okay. Right? All I wish for you is that you would at least try it and see. Right? It's like I used to tell my kids when they didn't want to try anything new, I'd like, what if you never tried chocolate, right? And what if you never tried ice cream? Think about all that you would have missed, right? By not trying new things. So please post in the comments anything you're struggling with, anything you want to talk about, any questions you have, any brags, anything you want to celebrate. Let us help you celebrate, because that's so important too. So many times we focus on all the negative and all the things that are going wrong, and we forget about all the amazing things that are going right. And it's important to do that. One of the things I would love to talk about and remind you guys today, especially now that the DNC convention started last night, the RNC is going to be next week, I believe. As we get closer and closer to the election in the states, things are going to get more and more toxic. There's going to be a lot more negativity. There's going to be a lot more nonsense going on social media, on the news, on all kinds of things. It's gonna be nasty. Hey, good morning, Lisa. It's gonna get nasty. It's gonna get ugly. But here's the thing: you don't have to be involved in it, right? Do you have to go vote? Yes, my God, I hope you will. Please go vote. But you have a choice into how you learn to be educated about what's happening in the world and how much time you spend on it. Right? Morning, Michelle. So glad you guys are all here. Please post any comments, questions, celebrations, anything. So talking about a little bit of environmental detox is that where do you get your news and information from? And is it serving you or is it draining you? It's absolutely important to be informed and educated, but to let it suck you into the vast void of negativity and despair a lot of times. You have a choice in that, right? You can turn off the news. You can choose not to watch certain networks, or, you can read a newspaper, or you can find somewhere online to get your news and information. You don't have to let it consume you. Is it important? Absolutely. So important, right? Hey, Roberta, good morning. Yeah, excellent, right? All the stuff with the post office going on. We need to be informed about that, right? But we don't need to be sucked into it 24/7 or 4 hours a day or 3 hours a day or whatever it is. Start to pay attention, right? Again, back to that amazing body, soul wisdom that we all have inside of us, not with our heads telling us, I got to watch this so I know what's going on. I don't want to miss anything, or whatever your story is around it. Listen and pay attention to those sensations in the body, in your body, when you watch the news, or whenever you spend time consuming current events and news. What happens to your body? Does it feel tight? Do you feel exhausted and just totally wiped out? Do you feel depressed afterwards? Or does it rev you up and give you energy to go be a force of nature to reckon with? It can go either way, right? We're all different. And there's no judgment on which way it goes. The important thing is to really tune into yourself, to your God, your wisdom, and find out, is this something that is filling me up and energizing me, or is it something that's sucking the life out of me and draining me? And this goes for everything. Everything. Relationships, food, magazines, um, decorations, items in your house, people in your life, right? Where you get your coffee. Ultimately, I want you to be able to tune into your body, soul wisdom, tune into that physical sensation, that amazing magic that you are, and make decisions from there. That's what this is truly all about, right? Instead of our head and the shoulds and the have tos, it's tuning in to that soul wisdom of what fuels us, what lifts us up, and what drains us and sucks the life out of us, right? Yes, there's going to be things you have to do in life. You have to get them done, right? All those have tos. I would argue that a bit, right? A good one is like, I have to pay taxes. Well, no, you don't really. You don't have to. There's a consequence for not, but you don't have to. I have to go to the grocery store. Well, you may think you have to, but in reality, you don't, right? There's consequences for not having food to eat, or there's consequences, there's other ways to have food come to your house, right? So question those have tos, and if there's things that make your body feel a way that doesn't feel good, that isn't nourishing and uplifting, right? Whatever your physical sensations are that are saying, not that, start to trust that and then get creative, right? You don't want to go to the grocery store? There's so many delivery options now. You can set up arrangements with your neighbors so that maybe you do, shopping shares. So maybe you only go once every 6 weeks instead of every week. We are such creative, magical beings. There's always a way to come up with a creative plan if we're open to it. Let's see. So Roberta's already looking into mail-in voting. Awesome. And that you watch enough news to catch up and keep up with new things, but have to turn it off because it consumes you and make you thick and lethargic. Right. Too much is depressing. Always tired. Yeah. It does have an impact on us. We're energetic beings. The energy that we surround ourselves with in all the different shapes and forms, from the paint color on our walls to our curtains to everything, has an impact on us. And again, with getting your news, right? If you watch news, it's the same cycle of stuff over and over and over again. How many times do you need to hear it? And what is it that's drawing you to not be able to turn it off, right? Every once in a while, I'll see something on Twitter and then I'll think, oh, are they going to cover it? And I'll sit and I catch myself. I'm like, maybe this one, maybe they'll talk about it now. Maybe they'll talk about it now. And the next thing I know, an hour's gone. And I'm like, right? Humans. But it's starting to recognize that about yourself and starting to ask yourself questions. Why am I sitting here? What am I gaining from this? And a lot of times, people will say, well, I'm not getting anything out of it. It's just a waste of time. Well, you must be getting something out of it or you wouldn't do it. Because as humans, we do things to get things, right? We do something to get a result or to obtain something. It can be something like, I did this as a distraction from having to do this over here, as it's an avoidance, right? Or it could be something like, I sat there and watched this because I'm so exhausted and I needed a break, but I felt if I rested that I would feel lazy. So in my mind, at least I was doing something, I was staying informed. Call yourself out on that stuff. And I know it's hard sometimes because we can't see, it's hard to see our own bullshit, honestly. That's why they call them blind spots. You know how it's always so easy to see somebody else, how, oh, I know exactly what they're doing wrong, right? You should just do this, this, and this. If only we had that vision for ourselves. That's why having a coach is so important, right? Because we're trained to see that stuff. But just pay attention gently, curiously, and see what's going on. Why are you doing what you're doing? Is it really the reason you think you are, or is there something else going on? And especially in this time of a pandemic where there's so much, we're inundated with so much all the time. Everybody else's fears and anxieties, right? Again, as I started off in the beginning, right? It's a time of year where we would be, oh my God, it's the end. It's almost the end of summer. Where's our bucket list and what didn't we get done? Let's see how much we can do in the last 2 weeks. And starting to, crank up for the fall and that. And it's different this year. But I think every single one of us, whether we're a student or a parent or a grandparent or an educator or a school employee in some way, shape, or form, or we have family members that are school employees, going back to school is different this year. It just is. And there's a lot of fear and unknown around it. And so, what do you do with that? Right? Even if we choose to ignore it, we're not really ignoring it because the energy of it is all around us. It's impacting us, whether we choose to be conscious of it or not. It has to be. What are some of the things that you all are thinking about the return to school in a pandemic? I'd love to hear some of your thoughts around it, what things come up. And if you're not sure, pay attention to how your body responds when I say to you, what are you feeling about so many people returning to school? What happens to your body when I say that? But for the first time in my life, I'm actually fearful for our country. It's out of control. I'm seeing more how money rules and takes away all morals and lawful living. No regulations means more water pollution or air contaminants, forests destroyed, tip of the iceberg. Now this virus and people not working together. Yeah. Hi, Anne from Melbourne, Australia. Welcome. Welcome to, the crazy state of the US at the moment. Yeah. And Roberta, when you think about all that, right, that's so much. It's so much. And how much do you feel that you have actual control over any of it? Is there anything in that you said that you feel you have a say in or have control over? And Anne, I'd love to know, we're just talking about all the thoughts about returning back to school. Right? All this stuff that's going around. What can you, as one amazing, incredible, but single human, what do you have control over? Anybody have any thoughts on that? What I've come to learn is the only thing I have control over is my own thoughts and my own actions. That's it. As much as a recovering control freak as I am and used to think I could control the world, I have learned differently. I have finally surrendered to the fact that all I control is my own thoughts and my own actions. Period. The end. Let's see. Roberta's children in another state. You've not seen them since Thanksgiving. No control over, but we cannot sit still without voicing our opinion because that's how democracy dies. Yes, absolutely. There are things we can do, right? We can't just throw up our hands and sit back. Let's see, Anne, you're in stage 4 lockdown. Can't travel more than 5 kilometers for food. Only kids of essential workers go to primary school. High school teenagers are homeschooled. Well, there's a logical way, right? Yeah. It's amazing to see how other countries have, handled this and how we have not. Yeah. So there are, what can you do with your thoughts and actions that would make you feel better? What can you do with your thoughts and actions that will make you feel like you're making a difference? Like you're not a victim, like you're not, like everything is not totally out of control. What are some things you can do personally to create a better world? Whether that's in your own physical state of being or in the universe at large. Childcare is for essential works only. Yeah. Yeah, it's so complicated, isn't it? And it's so hard when people live paycheck to paycheck and, have been financially ruined with everything. And when people can't go to work because they have kids and they have nowhere to leave them, the way they would be well taken care of, what do you do? Hey, Rebecca, good morning. My kids don't want to leave the house and I'm going nuts. I feel like I can't act on my own choices, guts, because I'm tied to them. Yeah, yeah, because they're relying on us to make decisions for them, right? Yeah. So, what's one thing, Rebecca, you can do to help give yourself just a little bit of space, even if it's just 5 minutes? And for all of you, what's one thing you can do to take care of yourself? Again, it's that airplane oxygen mask. If we don't put on that oxygen mask first, we're never going to be able to take care of our kids and our loved ones because we're going to be dead. We're going to be passed out. So, what's something you can all do? What's that oxygen mask that you need to put on? Again, some of the things we talked about in the first couple of ones. Take five deep breaths. It like takes less than 5 minutes to just take 5 deep breaths and do it as often as you think about it, right? The mantra, right, that I have been calling on a lot, right here, right now, in this moment, I'm okay. Over and over and over and over again. Right? Just reminding myself, breathing deeply, repeating that to myself. Because in this moment, right here, right now, we all are okay in the present moment. We have to pull ourselves out of the past and pull ourselves back from the future, where all the worry is. And we talked about a dance party, right? Blast the music. You can do this with your kids too. Blast the music and just dance wildly. It moves the energy through the body, it lets laughter bubble up. 3 simple little things. Yeah. Yeah, and Rebecca, I know your kids are older, so you get those breaks. And fortunately, we live, at least for the next few months, we live in an area where we can get out and walk safely, and we can get out in nature, and we can put our feet in the grass. Right? It's going to be a different story when winter comes and it's cold and there's snow and ice on the ground. And let's hope that we have a mild winter so that we're not um, stuck inside as much. But even then, we have a choice in it, right? Bundle up, get out, right? And says the elderly home alone are getting depressed. Casual workers with no shifts are sitting at home at 1,500. Yeah. Your prime minister has offered 10 free visits to psychologists until, yeah. Oh, Anne, I'm jealous. So many things that can be done to help people, and we're just not doing them here, right? I'm so glad Australia is at least doing something to help the people. Yeah. Yeah, dancing releases stagnant energy. Absolutely, Michelle. Um, yeah, and gratitude is another important thing, right? No matter how bad, and there's a caveat to this, right? No matter how bad you have it, you can always think of somebody that has it worse than you do. But don't use that as a way to bypass feeling what you're actually feeling, right? There's no comparison to suffering, right? Your suffering is your suffering, and you need to feel that and work through it, right? Somebody else's suffering is their suffering. Just because someone else is suffering more than you are doesn't mean that you don't get to suffer and you don't get to feel what you feel. So I want to make sure that, that's really clear, because they're 2 different things. Yes, you can be aware that people have it worse than you are to be able to remind you to be grateful and feel blessed, but not look at somebody who has it worse than you are to shame yourself that you shouldn't feel bad or you shouldn't be suffering. You guys see the difference? It's not about bypassing what you're feeling. It's about recognizing what you're feeling vulnerable, feeling sad, grieving, feeling anxious, whatever it is, but not staying there. And as a way to help you move forward, also remember that at least I have a roof over my head. I have food to eat. I have clean water to drink. There's a big difference, right? Rebecca says, trying to stay in the moment because there's so much to worry about, but really we have no idea what the future will bring, right? And again, I go back to, and sometimes people think I'm crazy for this, but I'm used to that, right? The reality is there is no difference between what we had control over the moment before we knew about COVID-19 and the moment after we knew about COVID-19. Because what we thought we had control over was false. It was just that false sense of security. The reality of it is, none of us know what this very next breath is going to bring, or even if we're going to have one. But we created this bubble of false security that when something like this hits, it shatters that. And so again, it's, we try to rely on our foundation and find out how strong that foundation really was. Right? And for some of us, some of the lives that we have built have been on pretty solid foundations. And so we're able to adjust and, I hate to use the word pivot, we hear it so much, shift, adjust, make new plans, right? Come together and figure it out. And a lot of people have been shown with this that they have built lives on shaky, crumbly foundations. And that's been really hard for a lot of people because they can no longer deny that because it's literally crumbling. Right? Some examples, people that, have relationship problems and they were able to just kind of get by because everybody went their separate ways and they navigated around, only being together for short amounts of time. And now all of a sudden, when you're stuck together, all those old habits and escapisms and ways to coping mechanisms no longer work. So it's in their face, right? Or people who have had issues with their children, right? And we're overscheduled and running, that they've never really had time to sit and get to know each other and really be involved and know what's in their children's hearts and in their minds. And now they've, been stuck home with them and have had to either decide they're going to figure out who this incredible being is, or all their buttons are going to be pushed because there's no escape from it. And again, we have control over what we choose to do with that. Yes, and domestic violence, I know. Oh, so horrendous. Right? When you're quarantined with an abuser, right, it's heartbreaking. And again, so here we think about that, right? A victim of domestic violence is quarantined with their abuser. What can we do to change that? Is there anything we can do on a personal level to make a difference there? Right? We can donate to, if we have financial means, we can donate to organizations that support them. If there's crisis centers, we can get trained to help work there. There's things we can do. We can educate ourselves about the signs and educate our children. Right? We can create safe havens. There are things you can do rather than just sit back and let it overwhelm you. Your thoughts, your actions. Yeah, I know, Rebecca, you do work in domestic violence. Yeah. Yeah. It's such important, heavy work. Right? And again, knowing how do you do that work and still take care of yourself? Right? Where are the boundaries where you don't get so exhausted emotionally and burnt out from dealing with such horrific situations where then you're not available for your family or you get sick? Right? That's on us to be able to take care of ourselves, to set those emotional and energetic boundaries. And know that you're doing all you can. And although it might not feel like enough, it's what you have to offer. Yeah. 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 A lot of Netflix, a lot of TV, a lot of entertainment. But you know what? Like I said, thank goodness for this. If this happened 30 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do this. Imagine what would be going on we would have, the lack of connection, the lack of information, the lack of ability to educate ourselves and connect with people and check with people. It would be, telephone with the cord on the wall. you know? So we can be blessed and feel thankful for that. For me, I've always been grateful that, I've been self-employed for over 30 years and I've worked out of my house. So that wasn't a shift for me. And although I'm now no tech genius, I've been working with Zoom and different things. So there wasn't that big learning curve there for me. But for a lot of people, that in and of itself was so overwhelming. So again, think about all you've learned through this. Think about all the growth that has happened. Think about how you've expanded and shifted to be where you needed to be through this. And really take a minute to breathe that in. You're pretty amazing. I know it doesn't feel like it all the time, but think about all that you've accomplished and been able to arrange and shift and process and make happen. And included in that, right? Included in that is the ability to stop. Right? I think that's one of the things, especially in the area where I live, is it's always go, 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 go at 100 miles an hour all the time. Overscheduled, overrushed, overdone, overbooked, overtired, overstimulated. And so when everything just stopped, people had a hard, hard, hard time with that. Because all the things that they used to escape, or all the things that they didn't want to deal with, right? Busy is a choice, and busy is a bypass and a distraction. So when the busy is taken away, again, strong foundation, crumbling foundation. And you can make a crumbling foundation strong. And you can also take a jackhammer to a solid one. So what happened with you when things stopped? Roberta, yeah, we're finding out what's really important. Yeah. Never even take one hug for granted. Yeah, and for me too, because I'm a hugger. I I'm kind of known for my hugs. I'm that real heart to heart hug. So yeah. And knowing that, right? Knowing how important physical touch is, right? Just feeling your own hand on your skin, right? And being able to touch your kids or touch your loved ones or your parents or, whoever it is. So important. Gives you a new appreciation for the elderly, right? Or the homebound. Hey, Alex, how are ya? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so really taking that time to understand everything stopped. What did you do with it? It was so great for me to start to see. I live in a cul-de-sac, and to see so many families walk together, right? We would have a few, right? There were some that was part of their routine, but to see the families start, right? And earlier on, when we were allowed to get out a little bit more, one of our neighbors suggested starting a Where's Waldo campaign around the neighborhood. So we all got Where's Waldo pictures, and we would post them on different places around the house in the windows and that, so that when families were walking and little kids were walking, it gave them something to do, right? It became a game and a treat for them to go find Waldo on all the different houses, right? Something so simple, but so powerful, and something we came together as a neighborhood to do. That, I mean, we do a lot of things in this neighborhood, but that was something that really impressed me. And I don't think a lot of people would have taken the time to do that before and really spent the time to move it around the different areas of the house so that they had to actually find Waldo, right? Yeah, Rebecca, me too. I am one of those people that I was like, oh, I don't have to get in the car. We don't have to rush. We don't have to go be here. We don't have to drive here. And I'm a parent that I'm one of those mean parents that I only let my kids do one sport a season. I know, right? That was it. You get one choice. That's it, because we're not driving everybody crazy. We're not going to be overtired. We're not going to be overscheduled. So for me, it was just a relief. So yeah, I can be very happy at home, right? My daughter and I spent the summers, and still every day it's sunny out, working on our Corona tans. 15 minutes on the front, 15 minutes on the back, and it's like heaven. Something simple. I got one of those little pop-up pools that's about 2 feet. I love to float, So I we tan one side, I'd go float. It was just enough to submerge, and barely, like, my feet would touch one side and my head would touch the other. And I got like one of the last ones before they were all sold out, and it's just pure joy. Just simple, simple stuff, right? Oh yeah, Alexandra. I'm one of those, you can't have a cell phone until you're in high school. I was one of those, Mom, everybody else has it, right? But again, we get to choose. What are we in control of? Our thoughts and our actions. We get to choose. It's what a lot of my work revolves around, right? Is especially as women, we're born into this life, we're all shiny and bright, and then we have people that lovingly put these conditions on us and tell us what our life should be like. And that this is what we need to do to be happy, and this is what we do to be successful. And most of us just buy into it and say, okay, they know what they're talking about, right? And so we go to school and we try to get good grades, and we go to college or we start work, and then we look to meet somebody and get married and have a family and all these things, buy the house, the 2 cars and 3.5 kids and the dog, and we wake up and we say, what happened? I did everything I was supposed to do to be happy. Why am I not happy? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. There was nothing wrong with me. We just lost who we are, and what we lost the connection to ourselves. And we were never taught how to really know for ourselves what our truths are, what our desires are, what our magic is. Because every one of you has different magic. Every one of you has a different gift to share to this world. And if it's not recognized and honored and celebrated, then we all lose. And even in this pandemic, right? Even in this pandemic, we need to look for our magic. What is this time here? What opportunity do I have here to connect with my magic? How can I connect with the wisdom of my body? Not my head, not my shoulds, not my have tos, but the connection with your body that says, go do this. Go try this. I know it doesn't make any sense. Go do it. Go do it. That's where the magic is. That's where your miracles are. That's where your gifts are. They're not here. They're not out here. So pay attention. Good night, Anne. Thank you for joining us. I'm so glad Australia is doing better than us. So pay attention. Where are you giving your energy to? Turn off the news. Watching the same news cycle over and over and over again is not going to do anything to help you. It's okay to shut it off. If you're exhausted and you're using it as a way to disconnect, go take a nap. Give yourself permission to rest. It's okay. And play. You know what I did when we were a couple months ago? We were talking about finding new ways to play, right? And I remembered how much I love to play jacks, you know, the ball and jacks. And so I found some ball and jacks. At first, I could only find the big plastic ones, and I was like, it's just not doing it. So I was able to find an old-fashioned ball and jacks. And so here I am playing ball and jacks. 5 minutes, and it shifts everything. You get back to that joy and that connection. Does it make logical sense? Would somebody tell you to go do that and say, oh, this isn't, productive or this? No, it's not about that. It's about lighting yourself up. It's about giving yourself that space to honor your joyfulness, your playfulness, your creativity. Just to be in joy. So those are the two things that I want to leave you with for this pandemic power hour. All right? Environmental detox. Pay attention to what you're letting into your environment. Pay attention to what kind of news you get and where you get it from. Right? And with all of these, you're going to listen to your body. Does my body feel however yours reacts? Most of the time, there's some tightness or discomfort or pain somewhere when it's something that's not serving you, versus feeling joyful or light or energetic or even jittery sometimes as that excitement kicks in. Pay attention to how you feel when you watch TV or when you read or listen to the news or when you get your mail. What kind of magazines are coming into your house? When you look around your house, how many things in there are really things that you would today, right now, choose to bring into your home? If you don't love them, they shouldn't be there. Bye, Rebecca. Thanks so much for coming. Go play. Yes. Yeah. If there's something in your house, I don't care how expensive it is or who gave it to you. If it doesn't bring you joy when you look at it, it shouldn't be there. Let it go. Let it go give someone else joy. Because it matters. It drains you of your life force and your energy. Yeah. Who are you spending time with? I don't care if they're family or not. I don't care if it's your best friend from the first day of your life. If they suck the energy out of you, set some boundaries around that. It's okay to let people go. You need to take care of yourself. Your clothes, right? For God's sake, buy the right clothes. Don't try to fit yourself in clothes that are size too small and you tell yourself you're fat. No, you're not. You just don't have the right size clothes on. Okay? Buy clothes that fit you and that you feel great in. Get rid of everything else, even if it means you have 3 outfits in your closet. It's okay. Feel amazing in those 3 outfits. Simple, simple things. So pay attention to what's in your environment and go play. Whatever it is. Just be silly. What are some of the things you guys will do to play? Let me know. It's something you can do that will be playful. Hi, Monique. Welcome. Oh, I so appreciate you too, Roberta. Hi, Stephanie. So what's something, and you know what's sad, right? It took me a while to figure out what would be playful for me. Because we forget how to play. We become so responsible and have so much to do and so much to take care of that we forget how to play. Hammock time, yes. It's like me with my Corona tan. Just put me in that sun on the deck, all the birds and stuff around me. I love it. It's, 40 minutes out of my day, 15 minutes each side, and a couple dips in my little wading pool, and I'm just recharged and blissful. Simple. Are there 1,000 other things I could do instead of that? Absolutely. But no, those 1,000 other things I can get done more efficiently if I take that time. That's again where we get twisted with what society and the have-tos and the shoulds tell us, when in reality, the more we play, the more efficient we are. I know you don't believe me. You got to try it for yourself, but I'm telling you. Bye, sweetheart. Have an amazing day for you too. Play and wrestle with my fur baby Fraser. Yes. Animals are so amazing. I miss my dog. He's been gone 3.5 years. And now I have wild turkeys. They're not the same, but they bring me joy. I go out and feed them. They come and they stand on my doorstep and they're like, "You in there? I'm hungry." It's crazy. It's time for the ladies to come back with their babies. Every spring the girl turkeys go away and have babies, and then I don't see them all summer. Just the boys hang out, and then in the fall the mamas come back with the new crop. And it's incredible. At one point last year, I think I had about 23 of them coming to my front yard. And again, some people like turkeys. Why do you like them? They're so gross and this and that. They just make my heart just burst. They bring me so much joy just to see them. So whatever it is for you, find that and add more of that. Give it a shot. What have you got to lose? Detox your environment, play more. Will not only get us through this pandemic, but through life. I so appreciate you all showing up. You guys have any questions or comments? You know, we're almost at the hour and I so value your time. So, and as always, you can private message me. You can post on this replay. You can email me at mary@maryvarnell.com if you have any questions. If you want to share anything with me that you're not comfortable sharing here, it's totally okay. We're all in this together. And together we're going to get through it. All right, my lovelies. Pay attention to what you're letting into your space, mental and physical, emotional, and go play. And if you want to post some pictures of you playing, that would be awesome as well. Or things that you're getting rid of out of your life, right? The more that we can support each other, and as you see other people doing it, it will spur other people on to try it. So that's something you have control over. You can share what you're doing with other people to help encourage them. All right? Have an amazing day, everybody. Thanks for showing up, and for those listening to the replay, thanks. I so appreciate you. Have a good one.